Well, good afternoon from, and I can't tell you what joy it gives me to say this, Harris. It's taken me 14 years or thereabouts since I moved up here, but I'm here, finally made it. This time last year I was on North Uist. That's my first visit to the Outer Hebrides, and you could see Harris plainly from North Uist, and it looked so tempting. I was just desperate to come here. So I thought, well, next year when I do this month-long tour of Scotland that I do, had to include Harris. It was the first place I sort of scheduled in. Harris, of course, isn't an island in itself. Harris and Lewis combined make the northernmost island in the Outer Hebrides. Sailed over yesterday from Ulladale. Came over, left Leg in the morning, drove down to Ulladale, had an amazing drive. It's been a really tumultuous, unsettled week in Sutherland, and it's got colder towards the end of the week, and it started snowing actually where I was staying near Leg. But the drive to Ulladale yesterday, calm, and the cloud had lifted, and it's just unbelievable views really of Colbeg and Benmore Coigach. Stupendous. And then I sailed to Strone, and then I had about a 50-mile drive south to where I'm staying on Harris, in South Harris. Harris itself is split into two, north and south, and I'm in the north at the moment. Today, which is my first full day here, I'm walking in to Ulladale because I want to go and see. This was somebody's recommendation. This was Chris Townsend's recommendation actually, that I should do this. Walking about, I think it's about 7 or 8 kilometres in to Ulladale to go and see Sron Uladail, which is, by all accounts, one of the most stupendous inland cliffs in the country. It is a long walk in from Avon Zui on the coast. But it's on this wonderful path. Quite an impressive stalker's path actually, which so far has avoided any bog whatsoever, which was not what I was expecting at all. I think weather-wise this week, this is probably the best I can hope for, but it looks alright. I'm sure it looks alright to you. Bit of blue sky, it's just really blowy. I wanted to go up and Clisham, which is the highest hill on the island, but it's very blowy, so I thought I'd stay a bit lower and do this walk today and still get to sort of having a taste of the interior of Harris, I guess, of North Harris. Harris is of course well known for being a very rugged, wild and occasionally peculiar looking place on account of very, very old rocks in this part of the world. Lewisian gneiss, GNEISS. The same type of rocks that are encountered down at the Bone Caves over in Sutherland, 3,000 million years old. But it does result in this rocky, bouldery weirdness, very, very rugged. Although this, to be fair, isn't as, I suppose people call it looks like a lunar landscape. It's not as lunar as it is where I'm staying over on South Harris, down right in the south east. It's, I mean, there's more rock than greenery or brown. It is just rock. It's just sort of bedrock exposed. Very, very peculiar, strange landscape. But this you can see here, rugged as it looks, it doesn't look half as rocky and rugged as it does down in South Harris, which is really saying something really, because this is pretty rugged. Now I think that is probably the prow of the crag there, the vertical surface you can see there. I think that's probably it. Ah, yes, no, you see, that's that's definitely it, isn't it? Wow. Isn't that something? You can see a track all the way down there. Gives a sense of the scale of the thing. Certainly a grand location. Paths come down from up there. You come down into this bowl, flanked by sheer cliffs on both sides. Wow. It's funny, despite acknowledging and knowing that Harris is a rugged, wild place, it wasn't until I opened the map excitedly and then sort of traced this route in that I realised just how much open space there is here. I don't think I really fully appreciated how big it was. Somehow I thought Harris was, especially north, I hadn't really got much of a concept of what North Harris was or how big it was. And it's huge. I mean, this, if you walk this way, if you walk that way, there's nothing there. I mean, you can go for another 7, 8, 9 kilometres, there's nothing. You just reach sea lochs. It's a surprisingly wild place. You can get as far away from a road here as you can pretty much anywhere else in Britain. But surprising, for me anyway. And now you can see how Sron Uladail, I think people just call it Strone, it overhangs. So it's a bit of a challenge to get up the thing. If you know your physics, you know, if you've got an object with an enormous mass, like planets or even mountains, like Schiehallion, where that experiment was conducted to calculate the mass of the Earth, how big objects sort of draw other smaller objects to them. Big, enormous features on the landscape, and especially big crags like this, they're like that. So you can't help, I mean, walking down the path, you can't help but stare at it. And now that I'm here, sort of being drawn to it, you can't help, you just sort of want to go and take a closer look. It's incredible, really. It's big. I especially like this sort of zigzaggy cutting away that you can see where stuff's fallen away, and massive boulders have fallen away from there. And as I keep saying, you know, that process is ongoing, so you could always have things coming off it. Climbing is inherently a risky venture, isn't it? But look at all these boulders down here, massive things. I can't tell you how big it is though, how many meters it is. I've seen several different things for it actually. When I was reading up on it, some saying 130, some saying 200, some saying 300. It doesn't matter, does it? Because you can tell it's big. But it's that overhang that is such a challenge. And while I don't expect to see anybody here today, if we'd been here 6.5 years ago, you'd have had a full BBC outside broadcast crew, 50 people plus, and a couple of climbers, actually more than 2 climbers, because people had to go up there and actually film it. But this was the site of where, in 2010, BBC outside broadcast for BBC Two, they did, was it the Great Climb, the Big Climb? I think it's called the Great Climb. And 2 climbers went up that live on television. I'm just going to take refuge because look, that's just emerged over the ridge. find a handy boulder to shelter behind. There's no shortage of them around here. I think I've got the best shelter going. It's got a slight overhang to it, just like that rock. The showers haven't been lasting long, to be fair, it's just a bit inconvenient. Right, I think we're good to go. It was, yes, 2 climbers, Dave McLeod, Tim Emmett. They went up. I don't know the route they went up, and it's hard to gauge scale from down here without somebody up there. But it took them 5.5 hours, and I think it was 5 pitches maybe they did. Somebody I've read somewhere, one of them was E9. That means nothing to me, but it had an exclamation mark after it, so I'm assuming that's quite hard. I think originally it was going to be done, the Great Climb was going to be done in 2007 maybe? But in the Cairngorms, I think maybe it was a shelter stone crag. And it was all set up to do it, but then the weather was really bad that summer, or at least when they were trying to do the climb it was really bad, and it all got called off. And the schedules have been made on BBC Two for it, and then it couldn't do it, and so, you know, had to fill it with other things. But quite an awesome place. God, it's windy. Well, before I head back, I'm just coming a little way further around the corner, because from around here you get more of a sense of that prow and just what I mean, it's more of a, there's more of a vertical, I suppose, at the prow, isn't there? But like I say, I don't know which way they went up. The glen's like a wind tunnel, just funneling it all down. Wow, it's much more impressive from this angle. You can barely get it all in the camera. Just look at the size of these boulders. It's incredible. This perhaps wasn't the best boulder to sit behind. It's got the height, but sitting there, it's got a massive, great big hole underneath it. There's a wind tunnel coming right up my bum. Well, I'm watered and fed, and I've sat here quite a while actually, just taking it in. Can't quite believe I'm here after waiting years and years to actually get here. You can well imagine that the best view of the crag, excuse me, is from up here really on the other side, and it'll be quite nice to go over there, but the ground is horrendous and it's a long way. It's hard to judge scale from here, but I've just spotted a deer. Yeah, a bit blurred. Red deer, so if I zoom out you can see just what a big slope that is behind it, if you actually wanted to get up there onto the ridge and get a nice view back at the crag. That's fine, I'm content just being here. I think if it was a nice summer day when the showers weren't coming in like this and there was a bit more light, longer days, I'd be half tempted to go up there. As it is, the 7 or 8 kilometres you've walked in, you just have to walk out again. But as I said on the way in, it's such a good path that that's really no hardship. It's up, of course, out of this bowl. Then it's, once you get up to the Lochans again, it's downhill pretty much all the way. So, time to go.